Hello, and thank you for coming. It's my pleasure to introduce Antonio Jiménez Torrecillas. I had to admit, this is one of the few invitations that we are done or I done to somebody to lecture in SCI-Arc with not ulterior motive that his work seems interesting. I didn't know him before this, so there's not friend favors or anything like that that goes a currency sometimes in these kind of lectures. When I was introduced by a colleague of mine of Antonio's work, the first word that came to mind was, well, this guy is crazy first. And what I thought second was, not really, this guy is obsessive. The notion of obsession became an interesting way to start to think about his work. And obsession is a word that we use all the time, and it have like a currency. We even have perfumes called obsession. But what struck me about the notion of obsession, I think any interesting architect or interesting architecture is driven by obsession. And obsession is this kind of a very dubious line that depends what side you end. You can go the other way and become a compulsive obsessive, and that's not really that good for yourself. Or you can have the right amount of obsession, and that is very useful for architecture. Now, in a place like SCI-Arc, that obsession is our day-by-day way to think about it. It seems to me that it was really important to invite somebody like Antonio, who have a different logic and way to work, that in a strange way is very Spanish, but at the same time is very universal, and is very in sync with that level of obsession that architecture requires. You're going to see that his work obsesses with the problem of materials, like not many architects I can think of in the current scene, but also obsessed with this notion of kind of an ethereal quality in architecture that goes beyond what is announced, what is present. So in any case, I think this lecture is going to be an interesting way to see in what side of that line of obsession Antonio falls. I have the suspicion that at the end I'm going to come to the conclusion that my original thought is the right one, that he is crazy. But nevertheless, I think that's the kind of obsession that I think is interesting for us in SCI-Arc to see and to observe. So please join me to welcome Antonio Jiménez Torrecillas to SCI-Arc.
Well, I'm really excited to stay here. Thank you very much, Hernan, and all of you to let me to stay here to check this university, this school. It's a pleasure for me to stay here and to enjoy and discover your way to work and how are you develop the architecture in this moment. When I receive this invitation, I don't understand really why. Who can I add something here? Maybe this question is near to other question, which is the meaning of our work? Which is the obsessive meaning of our work? I think every one of us generally ask ourselves this question. Perhaps every one of us need to define his work, his start point, for the work. Maybe a difficult thing we can define is which is our rules of work, which is our culture. From this point, we are going to develop the meaning of our work. I think that maybe the best way, or one of the best ways, to develop our individual develop is to do through our collective culture. But the question is this: which is our culture? How can one of us define the rules of the culture? Perhaps I came from a little place. Granada is a place with a local culture, and here, Los Angeles, a fantastic city, incredible point to see all the world. It looked like a great mountain, and from this place you can see many things. I did this because yesterday, when we have some beers with my colleagues, we went to Broadway Street, and when we went in this place, I could see a list of peoples for the cinema. It's all people who live there. For instance, Greta Garbo, Humphrey Bogart, a lot of famous artists. And I was really excited because when I was a child, at home, my family have only one TV. And all the family sit on Saturday evening after lunch to see the film. Most of those films was Western films, you know. And many other films was Humphrey Bogart and a lot of people who live here. So this is my part of my culture too. And I think it's easier for me to discover my individuality through my collective culture. We always are scared. We don't know which way we must walk. But so that's the reason that from this perspective, the things are not different between the great Los Angeles and the little Granada. When I come here and see things works like for Neutra, or when for me was very important to cross the sea and visit Latin America many years ago. When, for instance, I could work, for instance, Eladio Dieste work, I can understand a lot of things about my culture. And now I feel this sensation. But I think you, students of this school, are really people with a lot of luck, lucky people, because this high mountain lets you develop the rules of your culture, and individually, all of us need to define this space. And you have a very, very high position to see the complete cultural landscape and choose your own way. I think everyone has to decide this, and it's up to you, it's up to us. So for me, I repeat, maybe the most important thing here is, the most experience here is to check your way And of course, I discovered other ways for me. I would like to show you this, this picture because I would like to show you my little place. We live here. Eva and me lives here in the south of Spain. We live just this new, very near mountains. This is called Sierra Nevada Mountains. And Granada is above all a landscape. Always we have this double relation between the cross view, between mountain and mountain, between valley and mountain. And we have this relation, the landscape, always the cross vision from the Alhambra to the city, from the city to the Alhambra. I have many years to discover that dry weather is also rich. When I was a child, I thought only Switzerland, great trees are good landscape, but now I don't think so. And even in my city, nowadays, we can live in the interior of the earth. All of these holes have a very important view to the Alhambra and to the landscape. This is the Albaicín, the city, and this is the Alhambra. This wall is an ancient wall from 16th century. An earthquake last century broke 40 meters. So we have to rebuild this part of the city, of the wall, because this is an important landscape point of view from the Alhambra, from the city, from the far gardens of the Generalife. We need to define the continuous vision from the landscape. We check historic maps and we rebuild these ways. We have to build these 40 meters of wall, and we don't put in the same line always out to keep the ancient wall, the cimentación. I have the condition that when we use one material or when we use the system to build, we are defining the final aspect of our architecture. So, against the concept of solid fabric, we have the concept of apilamiento. I don't know how to say. Apilamiento, just put. This way to build make more important even to the ancient world. This is different apilamientos. For many years I made pictures near home, different materials, different stones, wood. And this is for stone near, very typical out from us. And we made this wheel, we built this wall in this way. We use a very hard glue that only with a slim millimeter have the most resistance. So we want to transmit the sensation to the apilamiento to reinforce the age and the importance to the ancient world. I would like to show you this picture. It's in the Generalife Palace in the Alhambra. In 1929, Torres Balbás rebuilt this building and used a concept that we call solid volume, consists in rebuild this arch. This is the only original arch, and this is old. This is the original one, and this disappeared. And he made similar volume but different material to difference old and new, because it's not good to confuse. The law don't permit to rebuild the same thing very equal, and it's not good way. So we use this way. Look. We use the same here to make a way from the interior to exterior and to communicate these separated worlds. The effects of the life, would like to remember our ancient architecture. And even when you are walking through this interior wall, you can see the fragments of the landscape you could see when you finish. This is a picture of the Chinese wall, and the difference of the bricks makes this when they was getting old, have different response. But we don't have to go to China to see this. This is a little tunnel very close to Granada, going to the coast. This is was built in 1850, and we can check the same sensations. Look. Natural light and landscape are the main start points of this intervention. The Palacio de Carlos V in the Alhambra has two personal qualities. The first, he has the complete vision, all the vision, to the Alhambra gardens. The second one is the natural life could introduce through his windows and offer light during the 95% of the time that the museum, the Fine Arts Museum, is open to the public. We have to protect these walls and prepare one interior surface to hang the pictures and to hang all the huge installations to condition this interior. The light, I would like to call invisible light, is always by reflection and use the palace scale to reinforce the museum scale. This is a picture from 1920. Torres Molina show how the light goes in. And this structure is a telescopic structure who hang all of these things through the new levels, the horizontal structure new in the palace. I would like to show you other work here in the north of the state, and it's Belvedere 2. This is other ancient city, and the foundation of this city was a crossway to regions, Levante and Andalucía, and Almería to Cazorla, cross this point. This is the river, the valley, the city, and in the front, other similar gruts, caves, landscape. The fort of this part has here, in this corner, an unforget place, but people who take off this house discover these stones. These are huge stones, and belong to the ancient fort. This fort was destroyed 6 centuries before, and people forget this use and rebuild like houses. This is the aspect at the beginning. And look at this stone that was really huge stones. These stones came from the Roman cemetery, and Arabian people use these stones not for aesthetic reason, only because are really strong and put in the corners and put in the basement to keep the fight. And was really nice to discover, clean, and prepare these stones. This is the tower. This is the main tower of the fort. Have this entrance, and we want to not touch the ancient build with the new one, and go inside the interior. And this is the square patio de armas. And this is the interior. This interior is really great because here you can discover the force of the material and this structure. We clean, we take off a secondary floor and keep his original atmosphere, more or less. So, in the high level, when the Christianic people make the fight with Arabian, destroy this tower, and the high part they take off. So we didn't know how was the original height. So we propose to complete the sensation of the tower with this furniture. This furniture who helps to the visitors to go through this and take the view up of the roofs and discover again the landscape where they built. The restoration here is not only to restore the stones, to restore the volume, it's to restore the view through the landscape. People of this village call this Fort Apache. Fort Apache, you know, for Western. Yes, it's really funny. It's really nice for me. But even in Europe, this kind of fort, wooden fort, provisional fort, was made too. we don't know how to build this. So the first moment, we make a model with 1:1 scale. This is one of the reasons. The other reason is to seduce the mayor and the government, you know. So we keep this to the place, it was a good help for us, for us. And after, in the fabric, we check. And after, we began at the site. When we were working at this moment, the mayor of the village get a subvention to rebuild this house. This was a house for the music band of the village. And we thought that was a strange building because we have here this steel structure, and here we have a huge wall to 2 meters high. So little by little, and look at things like this. We take off the things after, and we discover this building was the Posito of the city. The Posito is the huge store to keep the food to make the regular economy for the people. So when the people are really hungry, the government regulates the price with this. The subvention was really basic. We don't have much money because the subvention is the people has not work. The government offer work in something and learn one job. So the mayor asked us, what kind of job you need to rebuild this? And we said, we need one for wood and one for concrete, for stones. It's the only, with these points, we must do this. So we began, clean everything, put the number 1, number 2, number 3, and take off, and rebuild this fantastic wood for 5 centuries there. This is the aspect that in 1947 they made this music space. But when we clean, we discover the original way. So we clean these stones and rebuild with adobe, like in Albuquerque and adobe walls. We use the same wood to make the interior, to make this facade, but with the old technique, the sand technique. The people who make this try to make a perfect wall. But I say, don't worry, it's fantastic, don't worry. They don't know how to make, okay, but it was really much better, much better. Which is the possibility of this project? That they have not high technology, but they have a lot of handmade, because there are 20 people from this village who love his village, their village, and want to rebuild this building, and the same in the interior. We clean the 70s intervention and reuse this technique to repair this. This theme, I don't want to change for the most specialized thing of the world. We have the opportunity to use handmade, and the project has a lot of handmade, no more. We have to complete the second level, the high level, because this part is destroyed, this part to the south, to the view. So we have to complete this. First, we make this roof and prepare to complete this volume. We have a little bit, a group of a few wood stocks we don't use in the Homenaje Torre, in the other place. So we want to use here. And we want to put the hay, the weights here. We didn't know how to build this. We cannot make the engineering techniques. So we know that 2.5 toneladas is the highest weight, and put here, and check. And was really good because at the beginning we put some points, union points, among all of this structure, but I could check that only with one, all the weight resists. So take off this part and find this solution. This is the structural wood, this is the glass, and this is the part of wood we need to keep the sun lights from the interior, because this is south and we have a lot of, we have to protect the interior of these radiations. This is the outside wall. This is the ancient wall, and this is the music school. We clean, we repair. I would like to show you a very little example. It's a very common little building, little house in the common village to explain some important things about time and the relation between the collective and the individual relations. This is a little garage, and during 150 years he have different uses. These walls and roofs write the biography, the secret biography of the place. Yesterday night I was really exciting when I could see all of your ancient buildings and all of your how do you keep like a treasure, and how you transform differently. So the new use give new life here. We must only clean and put one pavement to to show this. Only use these glasses. This is the new pavement. 3 years later, the owner of this shop get this next building because she need a little wardrobe, an almacén, a store, and a new showroom. This is an ancient house, building 1850, and this is a new house built in 1999. But this is interesting because it's true construction, and this is only a surface, sensation. So the attitude here was different from here. Here we keep cleaning, and here we clean. We keep adding, and we use and we finish making this. This is our rest of glasses. I think that we must do whatever we don't know how to do. We always have to cross this limit, this dangerous limit, and new errors help us to discover something. Here we have a good possibility. This is a shop for my sister, because my sister is designer, ward designer. So here we can have more errors than other places. And at the beginning, all of these glasses we bought in a fabric, and every Saturday they give us the rest, and we add very basically. At the beginning, this union was a little bit bigger, and I said, good moment, because we don't know how, we were not thinking how to pull the wardrobe, how to pull the dress. With a little stick of aluminium, we can put las perchas, no? We can hang there the solution. But in other places, we have a very destroyed and huge hole. So we cannot use the same way. But it was important this moment, because this error helped us to develop a prefabricated, pre-made system to the future shops in other cities. I want to show you in the west side of the Alhambra area, in a very typical hotel, the Alhambra Palace here. This is an ancient picture when we have the relation between the place of the hotel and his direct landscape. And this is the actual view from this place. It's in the height. This is the hotel, and this is here we have to make 2-floor parking, and after a bath, like a spa. But it's not a spa, because in our culture the water is really important. So we have traditional way to understand these spaces, and the cult of the water is really important. We must build here 4 plants, 4 levels, for parking, the bath, and a new belvedere. This is the place, the area. So we make the topography detail, and we pick this ancient paratas is the name. Parata is when the agriculture people make 1, 2, and 3 levels. And this is in all ones we want to keep. So here we made the excavation, and we make a building with the same topography of the original one. Here we make the bath, the water spa, and at the top in the roof to give to the city a new vision, place of the vision. This is the ancient relation with the place. This is the actual. People always from here see to the landscape, and we propose to expand this space and to keep the landscape into this space. The trees are there, we protect, and we have some possibility to keep. This is the bath, this is the new wall, this is the original paratas, and this is a group of walls of Granada, near where we live, and always have these holes to go away the water. We have many of these, more ancient, less ancient, different things, irregular ones, regular ones, old ones. The stone and the geological earth is really good. Look, this is a clean cut for the place, and this is a new, well, not new, a handmade wall. I dream to build one wall like as much as similar at this original way. And this is the new wall we have to build, and this is the 4 levels of the parking. This is swimming pools, the original one, and the belvedere. The 4 levels there. And here you can see the street is going up, so these 4 levels have continuous. And his roof, and this is the original one, and this is the bath. And this is the structure of the parking. This is a model. To make the interior of this bath, we make we studied how the light goes in. We have 2 directions, and we would like to study in equinoctium and solstitius during the year how the light goes in, and we study fall, autumn, spring, winter. And so we decide with this level, this shape, this form, to introduce as much as possible the light here. This is the atmosphere of our popular houses, and was nice, this effect. This effect, common effect in a place where the light has excess, and we have to administrate this light And this is our classic baths, ancient baths, fantastic places. I remember when I was a student, I have heard one of my teachers told us about this. And this atmosphere is difficult to forget. I would like to do this, but I'm not able to. So we propose this space with the bath. Here we can find effects like here. This is the Alhambra entrance. Last year we have a lot of rain, and we could check this fantastic atmosphere. I don't know what part of this is garden. I don't know what part of this is building. I don't know which is the interior and the exterior. We would like, I propose to keep this green in the interior of this area. And some people, especially people, say maybe we can keep this here with vaporous water and with yogurt and organic materials, and maybe we can find this atmosphere. At least I would like to show you this landscape. This is one of our landscape. From time to time, we can find some ruins than ancient agriculture houses to grow these lands for the wine. This is look at this. We can find these forgot ruins, but every ruin of this is a lecture of how to build. The law don't let build more than only rebuild. You can build the same square meters the original house. But all of these stones are lessons. The people who built this are many times to think where they decide to put this building. Near the water, good sun for the winter. With his cows, he spent a long time in this place and make important reflections, I think. The question is, what would be better? Rebuild these ruins or contemplate, see, make an observation about this moment of the biography of this building. For us, this group of ruins, of stones and sand has the same importance that one lion of the fountains of lion of the Alhambra. Is as important as your Eagle Rock, for instance. For us, these stones are the same important. So we want to keep them and make with the same surfaces a new box, a box to live that let us to live the new life here and see these spaces, imagine how these people live here, and understand the path of time, the way we are going. It's like a box to protect It's like in fine arts museum, you put a box, a glass box, to protect the sculpture. We make a model to establish the relation among the interior and the exterior spaces. Thank you very much, my friends. Thank you very much.